Welcome to Educator Messia. Kindly make sure you like, you subscribe, and leave a comment at the comment section. Today, I want to take you through the format of writing your research proposal for your undergraduate thesis. The first thing to write on is background of the study. Background of the study is to give the audience an overview of the topic in a broader sense. In history, mostly it is important that you give us a little background history of the topic under study. Then you come to your problem statement. Problem statement involves you writing on the problem you intend to address in your research. What issue are you targeting? What problem are you addressing in your research? Mostly it is a gap in history. When we talk about gaps in history, we are looking at the unanswered questions in history. So the topic you have picked to discuss or explore, what are the unanswered questions on the topic? That is what you are supposed to do. And in doing that, you have to be very clear, very concise, and very organized in stating your problem. After stating your problem, let us know or let your audience know your research objectives. Your research objectives clearly tells your audience what you intend to achieve at the end of the research. It can be 2 objectives, it can be 1 objective. You know what you want to achieve after exploring the topic you are discussing. So let your audience know the objectives or the aims or the goals of the research. Depending on the aims of the research, it will take you to your research questions. Your research questions are those questions you intend to ask in order to achieve the aim or objectives you have already stated. So for instance, if my objective is to critically examine the impact of teenage pregnancy on socio-economic development of Ghana, my research question could be, what are some of the impacts of teenage pregnancy on the socio-economic development of Ghana? I hope this is very clear. So your objectives takes you to your research questions. After letting us know your research questions, you move to your research methodology. Research methodology is to give your audience the chance to know how you came about your research, how you were able to gather the data you use for your research. In history, we mostly resort to qualitative research method, but that is not the only research approach available to the historian. The historian can either use qualitative, quantitative, or decide to use both, which is the mixed method approach. Qualitative research method involves the use of non-numerical data. Mostly historians resort to this data or this approach because history involves interpretation of evidence or primary and secondary sources. It also involves transcriptions of interviews, which are mostly non-numerical. So it is always important and better to resort to qualitative, except that the historian's research also demands or required or also obtained numeric data. The historian can resort to quantitative also or use both. That's for the methodology. After writing your methodology, it is important that you let your audience know the significance of your study. This is where you are supposed to state the impacts of the research, what you feel or what you think your research will contribute to in academia or on the topic under study. One thing you need to know is that your research problem or the research topic is supposed to solve a problem in society. Hence, if it has no significance, then there is no need to research or explore the topic. After letting your audience know the significance of your study, you now come to the last thing, the scope of the study. The scope of the study, is supposed to let your audience know the extent of your research, the parameters you intend to deal with. So are you dealing with 2000 to 2022? Are you dealing with 1990 to 1922? Depending on what or the years or the topic you want to discuss, the scope of the study demands that you let your audience know the parameter of your studies, the extent to which you are going to go on your research, what you are focusing on, the exact topic you are focusing on, the specific area you are focusing on in the research, and probably the time frame or the period you intend to research on. This is that for the research proposal aspect. Depending on whom your supervisor is, you may be demanded or required to add limitations or delimitations to it. When it comes to delimitations and limitations in undergraduate thesis, it is mostly not required, but your limitations mostly requires you to write the obstacles you encountered in your research. Your delimitations also require you to let us know the parameters, just like the scope of the study, what you focus on, what you did not focus on. Yes, thank you for staying with me. My name is Mavis Mercia, as you all know me. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment.